Hello, everyone, and welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, coming to you as always from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. My name is John Martali, and joining me as always are my two hosts, Will and Garrett. Guys, how are you today?
Doing well.
Great.
Doing well.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Yes.
So this is it. This was the season finale of Andor, and we are here to talk all about the show. First of all, let's just go and just overall thoughts of the overall series.
I'm still kind of left in shell shock from the episode. Like, I've been processing it, and I'm just like, holy crap. That just happened. Like, the whole atmosphere of it is a powder keg, and just like every little thing is like adding timber and kindling to what's going to be a massive bonfire, and it goes from being a massive bonfire to being a huge detonation. This powder keg just goes off spectacularly.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I'm still like trying to wrap my head around the fact that for the first time I've seen a Star Wars marching band. So I'm like,
yes.
I was like, I was blown away. I'm like looking, and I'm like, they're freaking real instruments. I mean, they weren't they weren't like props. They were literally like space flutes, and space trumpets, and space horns. And I was like, oh my God.
I love the fact that you heard them, like, you probably wouldn't understand this more. You heard them almost tuning their instruments. You can see they're all getting, burr, burr, like they're not in tune, but then they all get together.
You got to understand. I was like, they were, that was real. They weren't even like not in tune, which I was loving because it's like, it doesn't, that's real. It was the most real thing I've seen.
It's not the first time that we've seen a marching band.
Well,
we did see one at the tail end of Phantom Menace, but they weren't tuning their instruments.
They were but you have to understand that, and I love that too. But it was, first of all, was it real? Or was it digital effects? Because it was basically a bunch of Gungans running. But the other thing was that it was, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it was just the fact that they went to the detail of actually using real instruments. And if you listen to the very beginning, and I've said this before, I'm not a huge fan of the music for this show, although I do love the way they used it. Mm-hmm. and how they used and how it built on each episode and the start. But the start of this episode, you were hearing those band instruments, and you were hearing them. It almost and I was like talking to my wife, and I'm like, that's gonna I think that's gonna come back, because it sounds like those are actual, like, diegetic instruments, like in universe, So that was really cool. So yeah, but I will say that it was very adult Star Wars, which I liked. And I was real excited for this episode. It was like Garrett said, a powder cake, just watching something just build.
I think this one, really, this series is really built on itself. Like each episode building. So you the suspense builds, but you just know something is going to happen. And then, you have the big blow off.
Right. Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, and I was so, I was really, I do want to say one thing, and it's just kind of a general thing. I don't like comparing, because what's the first thing that happens? Best thing that's ever come out. I'm like, that's a really easy. I really don't believe those kind of statements are very valuable. I feel like those, this is a great story. I will say this. I will give it props for the most effective use of a streaming service storytelling idea. Mm-hmm. Like the way they used the week-to-week storytelling, and it just drew you in, which I really appreciated. But I just I'm not like, I've heard some people commenting like it's the only good thing to ever come out of Lucasfilm, Disney.
Yeah. Have you not watched Mandalorian?
I mean, yeah. What about Mandalorian? What about?
And that's the other thing. I heard a lot of people say.
What about Bad Batch?
What about Bad Batch? What about? I'm sorry.
There's a bunch of other, but I've heard a lot of people say like it was better than Mandalorian, or Mandalorian was better. But to me, that's like comparing apples to oranges. Yes, they're in the same universe, but they're completely different shows. Like you can't compare Mandalorian to.
If we're looking at it from a storytelling perspective, I think the writing on this one was a little bit tighter, and not to make the comparison that Mandalorian wasn't, but you look at the 2 seasons of Mandalorian. Each episode is a matter of here's the clue to get to the next level, and it's like it felt like a video game. Like I'm watching the cutscene, a very long cutscene for a video game, and not that I had a problem with it. But that's how it feels. Whereas in this, each episode ends and you're not sure what's going to happen next, leaving you to speculate what's going to happen, what the characters are going to be invested in next.
Guy, do you think a lot of that was because of the like we said before, Andor was written for a little bit more mature of an audience, whereas Mando, not that it was written for little kids, but it was written more for younger adults maybe, whereas Mando was written for people closer to maybe our age.
I think it has to do with the overall type of story that they're trying to tell. Mandalorian is very much an adventure story. It's very much, it feels very much like you're part of an RPG and you get to watch it playing out, whereas Andor is very much a espionage thriller, and the good writing on an espionage thriller is going to keep you guessing as what's coming next.
Yeah,
and that's what they do well.
And that's especially telling and important to point out that we know how this ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we there's been a lot of prequel storytelling, not just the quote unquote prequels, but think about, everything from Clone Wars to Bad Batch to Solo, Rogue One.
Yeah.
These are all stories that take place as prequel stories that lead up to other things. We know where this ends up. We know what happens to Andor. We know that what happened, for the most part, what happens to Mon Mothma and whatever. So to have that knowledge, and yet, of course, part of the reason why it's so suspenseful is that, with everybody else who's not Mon Mothma and not Andor, we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know what happens to them.
So we're left at, go ahead.
So getting into, talking with the story, one thing I loved is how you see in this episode, you see characters that we saw from the episode 1 that come back now, and you see like, oh, okay, this is why they're integral.
Yes.
The worker that covered for Andor being there, the guy that he was trying to get that he owed money to being involved and being the snitch that was trying to turn Andor in, all this stuff going on, and just, I love that. And then finally getting, what everyone kind of knew, that Mon Mothma's driver was ISB. I think everyone kind of figured that.
I thought she actually said it.
She admitted it in the first and second episodes when she first meets with.
But now you actually see it come to fruition. You see him there, and you hear that he's got the conversation bugged, and a mention of Canto Bite.
Yes.
Canto Bite was thrown out there.
Well, if you're going to gamble, you go to Canto Bite. That makes sense. So,
or Nal Hutta, they've got some pretty good casinos there too.
Yes, right.
But we still haven't seen Nal Hutta yet.
No, we haven't.
I know we have not. I know. I wonder.
I'm waiting for that.
Season 2, maybe. That would be cool.
We'll see.
But I mean, just so many.
Let's talk about Marva. You know, her self eulogy.
Oh my gosh!
Yes,
that was so good.
I mean, I have decided that's exactly what I want to do. I want to I'm going to go downstairs when we're done and pre-record it, have it ready to go. So hopefully not for another 50 plus years.
Are you going to start a revolution too? Or are you going to,
No, it's going to be more like Festivus. I'm just going to tell all the people that disappointed me.
Airing of grievances.
Yeah, air my grievances.
And there has
like
to be
this is what I thought of you. Okay.
There has to be a metal pole in the middle of the arena so that you have to oversee, like your hologram oversees the feats of strength. Yes.
But yeah, I thought that was. Now, I will say there was part of that whole speech that she gave that did take me a little bit out of it, in the sense that, all right, would the Empire have waited that long to kick Emo over? And I thought that would have gotten shut down.
Like, they saw all those people in. To me, the modus operandi of the Empire that I kind of know is send the stormtroopers in right away with blasters, and don't wait. But I know they wanted to have the whole showdown between the protesters and the Imperial security forces with their shields, and before the big fighting really started.
No, we wanted to have that, have it build up to that. So
yeah.
And then there's and then back to Mon Mothma, like kind of betrothing her kid. Mm-hmm. But now it feels like it was an easy decision because the kid wanted it. Kid wanted the old ways, which is weird. That was
well. I mean, it's in a way it is, but in a way it's not, because how many times does especially a teenager, rebel against what the parent's doing? In this case, if the parent is, a quote unquote more progressive, more
She was She was Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah.
If anybody gets that reference, right?
Exactly.
Right. That was Family Ties.
Yeah.
It's exactly what she was, but on a more serious, and it's just the weird part to me, and I'm not bothered by it, but the weird part I found interesting or unusual or odd was that it kind of solved Mon Mothma's problem, right?
Yeah.
It kind of, she didn't want to do it because she didn't believe in it, but the daughter wasn't going to kick back on it. So, it's like, all right, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So,
I think they went about doing that the right way. Like you could see that, like, there was a bit of relief on Mon Mothma's face when she allowed for that to happen. I mean, she ultimately let it be her daughter's decision, and her daughter, who's been wanting to embrace the more traditional Chantralilian, lifestyle, in culture. I think that I think that takes a weight off of her as a parent, because then she doesn't have to worry about what's best for her kid, because her kid is like, well, I want to do this. He's a good-looking kid. I want to marry him at a young age, just like you got married at a young age. It's a part of our way of life. She saw it as a means to an end for her, culturally and traditionally. Her mom reaps the political reward, or at least the financial backing that she needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the Andor finally returning.
Everything was about Andor returning.
Yeah. Andor returning home.
I kind of want to back up for a second, because the way that Marva recorded her statement, she probably assumed that there'd be somebody from the Empire who would be watching or listening or whatever. Yeah. But she probably didn't anticipate the kind of Imperial presence that was there when she recorded the message. Like, because I mean, between the time that she dies and the time that they do this funeral procession, her, the presence of the Imperials grows exponentially in just a couple of episodes, and it is it goes from just having a handful of Imperial soldiers there to like 3 garrisons.
Right. Yeah. So, but I mean, just the way that whole thing was like aligned, and I joke about the band, but even just the way that the processional, it had, it had a Godfather vibe to me, where
it did, yeah,
with the more dirgy funeral march kind of things that they did,
and how quickly everything you can see, like the plan that the Empire had to flush out Andor and having everything set up just perfectly with we're only allowing this many people to come in, and this you can only go down this route, and then everything just gets thrown out, and then the Empire doesn't really, that's one thing the Empire, you can see that Empire is not good at, is thinking on their feet.
Yeah.
Things aren't going to plan. Oh crap, what do we do?
Yeah.
Yes. No,
and for the Empire, thinking on their feet is, let's send everybody out and just, kill everybody.
Scorched earth, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I did have a question. Did either of you see the guy ringing the gong?
Yeah.
The clock tower. He didn't get shot, right? He just
he knocked the guy's.
He knocked the guy out of the tower.
He Sparta kicked the. He was like, what was the name of the planet again? I can't remember.
Ferrix. This is Ferrix.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Be curious to see where this goes next, or even if it is on Ferrix, or if they're just gonna. Yeah. Because at the end.
Speaking of that, I believe there was a Wilhelm scream when he fell off the tower. I believe he fell. There was a
Wilhelm scream.
Yes.
Poor Wilhelms. They get killed so frequently.
I know, right?
I know. Yikes. Yeah, so and then of course Andor at the end kind of seeks out Luthen.
Mm-hmm.
And says, kill me or let me join you.
Yeah, because you find out Luthen was like all ready to, we have to find him and kill him.
Yeah, that was a little bit ambiguous leading up to it. Did he really want that, or was that just something the girl assistant?
I think it was.
I think it was. It was something he promised to Vel just to keep her on board.
Yeah.
To motivate her, and without any ambition of doing that.
Right.
And I think if Andor had said, had made any type of thing of like, I'm not really interested in being involved, and I think maybe Luthen probably would have. But
he definitely would have. Yeah.
Oh, the minute Andor said, I want to join, then Luthen was like, all right, I'll let you in. But,
Yep.
The one thing I will say that did kind of, just for a second, pull me out a little bit is when Carol and Deidre have that little moment where he saves her and pulls her out, and you can see like she's starting to fall for him, and he's got that look like, and it just kind of threw me out because it was like it just came out of the blue. Like there was no build, there was no real. I mean, there was a little bit of build up to it, but you go from Deidre thinking, okay, this guy's a creep, this guy, is a stalker, to, I think there should have been, maybe a little hint of like, oh, maybe this guy's not too bad after all. Maybe I can, but I don't know. It just kind of pulled me out for a second, for a second, because it seemed to kind of out of the blue and out of character.
Yeah, but if that had just been, and if I would agree with you wholeheartedly, John, if Siren just grabbed her off the street and brought her into a room. But this girl was being. Think about where she just was.
Yeah.
She was losing control of everything. She was on the ground. There was a riot of people like stomping on her.
That's true.
And she had to, and he literally pulled her out of the gates of hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I've seen on other kind of analyzing channels about the show, somebody had mentioned that she closed up all of her emotions, like totally, and here that fear brought all of them out in a rush, and then this guy just steps in and just saves her.
Yeah,
and I she didn't like just throw her arms around him and start making out with him.
That's true.
She just sat there and looked at him and was like, "What did she say? I suppose I should say thank you." It's like, I mean, which for her that's very emotional.
Yeah,
but it's not very much in the grand scheme of things when you think about it.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't know if it's gonna. We'll see where. Now, cut to a year from now or whenever when we're watching episode 1 of season 2, and if you see the two of them lying in bed together, remember I said this. That's a little weird, but.
Well, it also depends on how much of a time jump we have between episode,
Right. No, absolutely true.
And then we can have maybe, anyway. So I was surprised that pretty much everyone got out. That was my biggest surprise for me. I thought for sure that you'd have at least one character death.
Well, they got rid of so many a few episodes ago.
That's true. But as far as like the main cast, I thought for sure there'd be at least one character that would die. So that was kind of a surprise to me that we didn't have, even really a hint that. I mean, maybe during the big melee when the stormtroopers finally come out and start shooting everybody, there might be, but are you guys kind of surprised there wasn't, at least one character that died?
There was, the guy, the snitch died.
That's true.
So
that's true.
There's that. But no, I feel like,
I'm not complaining. It was just kind of like, it just seemed like
there weren't a lot of characters that, obviously they it turned into kind of a rescue for Brazo or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And Emo and a few others, but not everybody. Like, I don't think a lot of those people will survive this.
No.
The stormtroopers totally, they have weapons. That's it. They're gonna shoot them all down.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
So whether now, I don't even know if we're gonna see Ferrix in the next season. I think we're gonna move on to something else.
I think you're right. I think
the story on Ferrix has been told, and what happens after that,
Yeah. Now let's talk about Andor rescuing. What's her name? That was in the
Bix. I thought it was really interesting how she was like, she had this Stockholm syndrome, this PTSD Stockholm syndrome going on, where she's like, no, I can't leave. They won't let me leave. He's like, snap out of it. And
there's
then
no one here.
And that changes everything for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. That was really, really neat. And, just see the torture that she had obviously been through. And
it was really, but they really weren't talking about it in this episode, but what a horrible, but there were so many uncomfortable things in the series.
See, like, we always kind of known that the Empire was evil and malicious, but we really see it here. And we see both sides. We see the overt evil and maliciousness with the torture and the slavery, but then we see the more subtle, subtle evil where they just kind of come in and take over.
Yes.
Where they just kind of come in and like next thing you know, it's like, oh, there's stormtroopers all around. There's how did this happen?
Yep. No, that's true.
And we see the difference between being in the Empire, living in the core, like on Coruscant and places like that, and then in the Rim worlds, like a Ferrix, and how it's completely different.
Yes.
True.
So
I was trying to figure out when Cyril, his buddy there that was with them, they switched hats. What was the deal with the switching of the hats?
I don't know.
I have no clue.
That was just so yeah. Did anybody figure out that his name is like almost like not an anagram, but like of corn cereal Karn?
Oh, Cyril Karn.
And he's always eating cereal.
Never paid attention to that.
Cyril Karn, corn cereal. And every time we see him at his house in Coruscant, he's always eating the cereal with the blue milk.
Oh yeah.
And wow. Now I just wonder, did someone take it to that level of detail?
You know they have.
No, I know someone translated it as that, but did they really? Oh my God!
I'm pretty sure they did. I've met some writers and stuff like that, and yes, I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, this would be hilarious. Because you watch any like episode of like Star Trek or Star Wars, well, they'll put like stupid name, like they'll have like a list of like starships that they're looking at, and they'll have some like weird name in there. They're like, no one else would realize it's in there until you like zoom in and you see something like, oh, this one's called the Tony the Tiger ship. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they can't get away with that nowadays with a lot of, especially with all the space languages that they have, because everyone knows how to translate it now. So they can't put something in Arabic that makes absolutely no sense, because there's people like us and other people that are like, oh, I can translate this.
Yep. No, that's true. That's true. They got to be careful with that too, because people spend time translating it, and they got to be.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, folks, make sense, will you? World building.
Exactly.
Yay for world building.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. So, all right. What about? I'm trying to think any other key points from this episode.
I gotta say, one of the things I really appreciated was just how chaotic that skirmish got. Just in the design of it, because you have these, how to put it. You had so many things going on. You had people. You had the Imperials getting ticked off because of the recording. You had the band members getting ticked off because of the Imperials being there and because they were kicking over and disrupting the whole thing. They were told that they would have plenty of time, no disruptions, nothing like that. And then you have. Then you've got the guy who was working on the communications array, who built the bomb. And he pulls out the IED, and he chucks it. And
he didn't die, right?
I don't remember.
I don't think he did. I mean, not that it matters. It just was. Yeah, but seriously, you're right. There was just a lot going on. So, but no, I it was a great way to end it. I'm really glad we already know that another season's coming. I'm glad that they kind of already approved it, and it wasn't something that we'd have to wait and see if they're going to do another one.
Yeah.
So that helped.
Yeah.
Wait, we got to talk about the end credit scene.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
what was fun is
the array dish for Death Star was just
saying that the things that he was making, we all speculated, were those parts for the Death Star? Were those parts for something else? And then we see that the things he was making were going into the Death Star.
Oh my gosh!
Oh. Well, I knew it the minute I see like the thing, going in. I see the little droids going in and believe like, oh my gosh, don't tell me. And then it pans out and you see there's like,
that was good.
Yeah. But that's something that because they never did any end credit stuff. A lot of people might have missed that one.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know until I was watching something. I saw something on YouTube that said end credit scene explained. I'm like, oh, I gotta go back. Fast forward. Skip credits. All right, here we go. That's one thing I love that Disney Plus does is they get to the end. They know everyone wants to see the end credit scene. So like they have the end credit button right there. It's like, yep. All right. Nope. I want to just get to the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that the funny thing about it was when you saw the droids, for some reason, to me, it seemed like a negative reflection with those droids building the Death Star of the ones R2 were controlling, building Luke's temple.
Mm-hmm.
After the fact. In fact, I wonder, were they the same droids, just a new coat of paint?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
hard to say.
But it was just an interesting parallel.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So
now, did you guys feel there was closure to the season? Do you think that everything, or do you feel that? Because that was my thing. Like I felt like I feel there was some closure. Like I think we're like Will said. I think we're done on Ferrex.
I would agree with
but at the same time, I felt like there are still so many storyline threads that were still kind of left open for next season. Maybe that was on purpose for next season.
I would imagine it was.
Do you think this worked as a season finale? Is what I'm trying to say.
I do.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be some things that are hanging over for the next season because they need to. Like what's going to happen with Cyril Karn and Dedra Mira. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that interaction plays out. I'm also really curious to see what happens to Miro's career at this point because there's a huge opportunity, and the whole linchpin for her campaign was to get Andor, and she just failed miserably. And because she was so confident, she was so gung ho to make sure this happened that she didn't think of all the ramifications, didn't think of all the things that could have gone wrong, didn't study the angles, and she was well in over her head. Whereas Karn was like, if she had just brought Karn in, Cyril would have been like, "This is how things play out. Here's how I can help you. Here's how I can analyze." And he would but because she kept pushing him away, because she kept, keeping him at that distance, I think there's now going to be an overcorrection on that. But I think that the way this ends with, obviously, Andor is going on to the next step of his journey towards being a member of the Rebel Alliance and picking up and getting closer to where we see him in Rogue One. I think this does a really good job of closing out what happens on Ferrex. But I still think we have more to see, especially with regards to Mon Mothma on Coruscant.
Right.
Yeah. Now, do you think that this show, because there's a line in Rogue One where he says that makes the comment, he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old or 8 years old?
6 years old. 6 years old.
do you think that this show at all has clarified that statement? Because it seems like he actually joined the rebellion, like he's just now kind of officially joined the rebellion.
No, I think they were telling that with the flashback sequences of him as a little boy.
Yeah.
And seeing what the Empire did with their mining and how they were kind of, they were all that thing. No, I think they kind of answered that. No, they might have been a little ambiguous about it, but I think that they did. Yeah. They at least put that out there.
He was fighting somebody, whether that be, as a separatist kind of fighting the Republic, or a rebel fighting the Empire, whether that be directly or indirectly, we
will see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to wait this out and see where it goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I do think it closed. I think it did the absolute correct amount of closure for this episode, for this season, knowing that it's different, guys. We know this is going to be 2 seasons. We know it's not going to be 3. It's going to lead right up to the events of Rogue One, and we all know what happens after that.
Yeah.
When you have that level of timeline to adhere to, you can tell a very different kind of story, and you don't have to keep. It's not like they're going to just keep holding out for, if it's successful, we'll do another season. We'll do Andor the teenage years. I don't. Maybe they will. I don't know. I don't think they really need to do that.
No.
But if they did, they could totally cast Diego Luna, because when he goes for a shave, man, he's really young looking. Still.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, you said they don't need to. But then again, just like any movie company, Disney has done stuff before that they don't need to do. But
yes,
I think. But you can say that about pretty much any movie company that has a popular franchise. We don't need to do this, but we're still going to do it.
How many direct-to-DVD sequels? Bambi 2. Did we really need a Bambi 2?
Did we really need a Little Mermaid 2?
Oh. I blame The Return of Jafar, because they made the one sequel movie that was actually good. And then they thought, let's do it with all of them, and that's it. So, anyway. Hopefully they
made the sequel movie to explain why Iago was back for the Aladdin TV series. That's the only reason why that movie got made.
Yeah. And they didn't even have message boards and Discord groups and podcasts and YouTube channels back then with people wondering and clamoring, why? Why is that? It makes no sense.
Or better yet, Aladdin and the King of Thieves.
Oh, yes. But they did bring Robin Williams back on that one.
Yes, they did. That was a smart move on their part.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And it made that movie tolerable.
Yes. Although, the previous version, the Homer, who does the Homer Simpson voice?
Castanella.
Dan Castellaneta. He wasn't bad.
No, he was good. He was good. But it wasn't.
It wasn't Robin Williams.
He didn't have the improv. All right, we're getting off the rails here, guys.
Yeah, this is.
Sorry,
we're going this way.
Sorry, that was me. That was on me.
No, that's
right. He's like, yes, keep talking more about RIPs.
As long as you're talking, we're good. We're happy. Unless you're talking about the holiday special, in which case they will flag us and shut us down.
We just can't show a whole lot of it, or any.
Yeah, that's true. Or
there's a couple of things I felt a little bit let down on.
Okay.
I wanted to see a little bit more action, specifically like a chase sequence between Cyril Karn and Andor. I wanted there to be a face to face, and come to the point where I kind of have this moment, very, very Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones fugitive status, where you have Cyril Karn showing up to, they're having that face to face for the first time. These are characters who have not met.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I would have liked to have seen that in. Oh, go ahead.
And I was going to say, Cyril's like, I finally got you. I've got my man. And Andor just being like, I don't even know who you are.
That's exactly like, who are you? Or even have a thing like, it's like, you ruined my life. And Andor be like, I have no idea who you are.
Well, I think that might be something, that whole Cyril arc might be something that is going to be saved for next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think so too.
What I'm disappointed that we didn't get the scene with Cyril kind of taking his mom by the back of the head and drowning her in the cereal that she that's just like the little blue.
Yes.
Or saying like, taking her on a trip to Ferrex and say, I'm gonna go back to where I used to work. I want to show you that. And they're on the space thing, just like, here, step out here, airlock.
Yeah.
That really puts a whole new spin on Throw Mama from the Train.
Yeah. Oh, you got it. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Oh my God. I mean, just that woman, just the way, like even her voice is just like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, just. But
what's the old saying? Sympathy for the devil. The old song, "Sympathy for the Devil." Yeah, she gave you, she made you get sympathy for what was supposed to be the villain.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, she made you feel sorry for him.
Well, I certainly understood him better.
Yeah.
So rationalization.
A very relatable. I don't know if you really call him villain, but relatable antagonist. It made him right. It made him relatable.
Yeah,
that is true.
And I think all of the quote unquote bad guys that we saw in there, the antagonists, were relatable. We saw
except the doctor, the one that was torturing Binks.
Yeah,
Bix.
But even for him, it was more. It was the science. Like he didn't.
Yeah,
look
but
at
he
he was very clinical.
I know, but it was still, his lack of a soul was a little bit much. But anyway.
But I mean, for like the mainstay antagonists that we had regularly, they're all very relatable. And I love, they put the gray, like we said before, they put the gray area to the rebels. That they weren't all sunshine and roses, unless, and how there's so many different factions of quote unquote rebels fighting for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Each one fighting, for. Some just wanting to get the Empire out, some wanting to restore the Republic, some wanting to, fight for for each planet being independent. All these different factions, and so we're kind of seeing So I'm kind of curious if that's what we see in season 2 is this kind of formation. Like we're starting to see the beginnings of it. I wonder if season 2 will focus a lot more on these different factions and groups coming together and forming a single rebel alliance.
Possibly, but that has to happen at some point.
Yeah.
I
mean, we saw a little bit of it in Rebels.
Yeah, but I think that even if they wanted to, re-present that, you know what I mean? They could, because
you could say. I mean, you could even have to do. I mean, I know we have Mon Mothma in that, but you can do it from, Andor's point of view.
Sure.
Like you can see Andor. Maybe you shoot a live action version of that with Andor watching the speech that Mon Mothma gives on the Bridge of the Ghost, where she's calling. And you don't even have to show. You can just see the hologram of Mon Mothma giving that speech, and all the fans, all us nerds will know like exactly where that's from.
Yeah,
right.
And we'll geek out because, oh my gosh, that's from Rebels. We know that. Oh my gosh.
I still think, and this is a prediction I have for the next season. I think we're going to see Vel again. I don't think they're done with her. I think that with the way that things play out, we may even see Cinta as well. But with the way things are playing out, I mean, she and Cinta were on Ferrix to kill Andor. That was the next phase of their mission, and it was the only thing that they were actually in agreement on. And the fact that Luthen takes him off world to go do whatever else, she's going to see that as a betrayal, and she's going to. I think she's going to be gunning not just for Andor, she's going to be gunning for Luthen as well.
Maybe
Luthen is starting to, like, despite all the bridges he is building, he is burning just as many of them, and because you see that with the way he handles things in his conversation with Saw Gerrera. Saw was worried about, at some point he was going to get sold out by Luthen, and really all Luthen is he's a broker of mercenaries.
Yeah,
he's the guy pulling the purse strings and cater and moving the money around and getting things where they need to be, whether it's assets, financial assets, personnel assets. It doesn't matter. He's that broker who's in the middle of everything. He's that middleman, and it's eventually when you're in the middle of all those things, at some point something's going to squish you.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So we'll see. We will see. Of course, I'm pretty sure we're going to get in it. We'll get it. We'll get the whole K2SO appearance and reprogramming.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh, I'm hoping I'm hoping that the season 2 literally ends with Andor going on, going on the mission that we see him at the beginning of Rogue One.
Yeah,
like that would be the perfect ending. Is him, getting that mission and going off on that mission.
Right. Well, we have a little time to wait for that.
We do. And I believe the next Star Wars show is Bad Batch.
Yes.
In January, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
When does the next
come out soon? It was supposed to come out sooner, but they didn't want to overlap.
They pushed it back because it was it was counteracting.
According to what I'm seeing here, it's supposed to be out January 4th.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And what's the next live action one that's coming out?
Mandalorian season 3, I think.
Season 3. Mando season 3.
Followed by Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then Skeleton Crew or maybe Andor season 2.
The potential release date for Mando season 3, it looks like February, and then followed by Ahsoka.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot of good stuff to be excited about. Looking forward to.
Yes, definitely. All right. As we wrap up here, of course, we want to give thanks once again, as we mentioned last week. This is Will's last official time with us as an official host. He'll still be back every so often, but he's not going to be able to be a official co-host anymore. We just wish him the best. It's been fun. I don't want to say this like, oh, we'll never see you again. Like I said,
I'll be back.
I'll
be back. But thank you both for letting me, voice my Star Wars fandom on this channel. And I'm very much looking forward to what you guys have to discuss moving forward, and to coming back from time to time. So thank you.
And on a personal note, I just want to say that this is kind of behind the scenes thing for here at War of the Stars, but I know a lot of people already know this. Will was a lifesaver for this channel. We'd lost I mentioned before, we lost our other two co-hosts, and we were doing some auditions, I should say. And honestly, I'll be honest, Will was not the initial choice that I picked. And the only reason I didn't pick him was because I didn't know if his schedule of being a school teacher would allow it.
kind of why eventually I had to stepping away. But
the guy that I picked, eventually something happened with him after about 2 or 3 weeks of being with him, and he had to bow out. And Will graciously stepped in, even though, as I said, he wasn't my initial first choice. But he proved to be the best choice. And I just thank him for helping out in the channel for all this, for the last, what's been a year? Have you been
a year and a half?
Year and a half now, yeah.
I remember I did it at least into in early summer of 2021.
And we are fast going into the holiday season, and we'll be making our announcement for when our Christmas break will be happening. In fact, I'll do it right now. We'll be doing our last show before the holiday break on December 19th. Still plans of what exactly we're going to be doing with that. And then we will be off for 2 weeks after that and come back in the new year. So anyway, Garrett, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you?
Oh, there's a couple places where you can find me. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at GKJ_publishing. I'm there trying to market my YouTube channel as well as market my books as an author. I do a fantasy series, so if you ever want to check me out, you can do that. All the books are on Amazon. But you can also find me on YouTube, GKJ Publishing. I have a show called The Right Way, where we talk book recommendations, author interviews, creative writing tips, and every month I do at least one live stream. And thankfully, this is not the last collaboration I get to do with Will, because he has said he's going to do a top 10 for me on the opening of May, because Star Wars Day. So
I will get that to you. Hopefully not like the day before. Like I got 7 months. I think I can get it in.
Yeah, 5, 6, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, right? I promise I'll get it in. No.
If not, I'll send Greedo after you.
Yeah, there you go.
Make sure to shoot first.
Yes, exactly.
All right, and Will, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you at?
Well, I will still be active on YouTube with the Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Awesome. This is my favorite time of year because we do a lot of holiday-related things. You got to check out I'll be uploading a video soon about. I did a Star Wars gingerbread display this year. I do one every year, but this one I'm particularly proud of. So I'm not going to say what it is. You got to look at the channel, and.
You've been putting out a lot of content in the last few days.
Every
couple of hours is like bing, 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 bing.
Yeah, it comes out a lot, and I've been playing around with the shorts. Trying to do some of the shorts, but that's I may get back into that. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I'm just doing them usually on Sundays and Wednesdays is when they drop. And you can find me at Instagram and Twitter at Darth Tuba. Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. And if you want to reach out to me, emailing me at darthtuba77@gmail.com. And again, thank you guys so much for letting me share the sandbox with you guys. And I look forward to coming back in the future as a guest. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you. As for us right here, if you want to get a hold of the channel, warofthestars1@gmail.com is our email. If you want to get a hold of us, that is probably the best way to do that. If you have any questions, comments, snide remarks, all of the above, you can send it there. Or you can go to our Twitter handle, which is the same, at warofthestars1. Check us out there. We do polls, stuff like that. You can go to our Facebook group. Just search War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/War of the Stars. As I said, in the coming next year, we got some plans for our Patreon, some Patreon exclusives that we will be rolling out. So stay tuned for that. Or you can get our T-shirts, our mugs, all that stuff is at spreadshirt.com/shop/War of the Stars. Or the link is in all our social media pages. Just click on the link and that will take you directly to our Spreadshirt shop where you can get all the cool merch that we got there. If you want to listen to the show, we are on all podcast platforms, including Anchor.fm, and Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Remember, give us a 5-star review. We're on YouTube. Just search, again, War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast on YouTube. And you can find us there. We'll be uploading this show to there. So remember to like and subscribe. And Will you do the honors of closing out the show?
Oh, I would be happy to. So until next time, folks, please remember, this is not just your Star Wars. This is not just my Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. May the Force be with you.
And also with you.